but it's always nice to be in Oklahoma. Really like a hometown. Even though now we have an ashram in Los Angeles, someday Oklahoma is like a hometown. And I have some soft corner for Oklahoma. Nice to be here again. Let's enter into the subject. Today's subject is love, the way to your being. I'm commenting, or I can say I'm repeating Shiva Sutras, expanding on Shiva Sutras. Every day we are working on one sutras, one sutra. There are 112 sutras. So each day we pick up one sutra and let's enter into today's sutra and we'll enter into the subject. While being caressed, sweet princess enter the caress as everlasting life. Shiva says, while being caressed, sweet princess enter the caress as everlasting life. It's a beautiful sutra. He is giving you the technique to reach your being, to reach the Shiva consciousness. To explore the inner space, to achieve your original being. Every man has being, but we don't live in the being. We are little imbalanced, little eccentric. That is the reason for all the problems, tension, whatever you are carrying in your mind. The reason is you are not living in your center. You are not living in your being. You are not as you are supposed to be. You are not as you are. Constantly you are moving between the center and periphery. From the center you move towards the periphery. And some moment you come back, relax in the center. And you try to have a glimpse of you. You as you are supposed to be. Or you as you are. Your very being, your very core. But somehow you don't stay in that same space always. Again, you run away. You don't stay in that space eternally. You move away from that space. You are moving between your being and the periphery. You are not centered. You are not solid. By and by, slowly, you start staying in a space where you don't have to experience the periphery or the center. You try to avoid your boundary and the center, both. You create an image in which you neither experience your boundary completely nor experience the center. If I can make a small diagram, maybe I'll be able to explain how we are playing with our mind, how we are moving from our boundary to being. This is your center, your being. But you don't stay always in this being. You live a very eccentric life. Sometimes you are in this place, sometimes you are in this place. You move from your boundary. This is your being. And you don't stay in your being all day. Constantly you are moving. Morning you have some ideas, evening you have different ideas. With every person, every moment, you are behaving, expressing yourself in a different way. You don't have a solid being. You don't stay in your being in a solid way. You have your own ideas. So naturally when you are eccentric, moving between the boundary and the center, constant movement in your mind is happening. Again, after some time, you don't even want to do this. Slowly you create a space, you create a center where you don't have to go to the extreme boundary or to your being. Because your being is ecstasy, this is pain. The extreme madness and the extreme joy. When you are in your being, you are Shiva, you are Buddha, you are Krishna. When you are here, you are mad. You are in the ultimate madness. Please be very clear, when I say mad, I really mean it. You can see when you are filled with anger, when you are filled with lust, when you are filled with greed, you don't know what you are doing. You are in madness, the extreme. You are ready to do anything. I always tell people, anger is short-term madness. Part-time madness is anger. Full-time anger is madness. If you are mad part-time, you are in anger. Anyhow. Anger and madness are only two different phrases. Only it's a quantitative difference, not qualitatively. It's only the quantity. In madness, you stay there permanently. In anger, you stay there for a few hours. Otherwise, in quality wise, both are one and the same. But by and by, you create a new center in you, what you call human. You neither experience the space of Shiva, nor experience the space of madness. You neither go to this extreme, nor go to this extreme. That is why, after growing, actually as long as you are a child, you try to play both the game. Sometimes you are in high ecstasy, just like Krishna, just like Shiva, just like Buddha. Sometimes you are filled with anger and greed. Slowly, when you grow, society trains you, society cultures you. When you grow, you create another center where you neither experience this madness nor experience this Shiva consciousness. This is what I call the human personality. This is the space where human beings are. You start staying in this space. In this space, You neither experience the extreme madness, you are balanced, nor experience the beautiful freedom, the ultimate freedom of Shiva consciousness. Even when you are free, when you have nothing to worry, you don't express yourself completely because you are afraid. When this madness comes, you have to control yourself. When you are having complete freedom, you are preparing and waiting for the madness to come. When you are filled with madness, anger, you are waiting for the Shiva consciousness to come. You are not full in madness or in Shiva consciousness. You are constantly moving between these two. Between these two. Even if you are moving between these two, you are alive. You are alive. There's another kind of human beings who don't even move. They are just dead. They are dead and they don't move. They are very clear because moving hurts. Whenever you are filled with anger, you get the memory of the Buddha consciousness. You remember at some time you are peaceful, blissful. So you think, no, there is something seriously wrong with me. You are not happy with your anger. You are not fulfilled with your anger. Same way, whenever you are in the Buddha consciousness, in the space of silence, you think, no, this won't stay, I know about me. This will stay only for a few minutes. Tomorrow I will not be the same person. Tomorrow morning, I know when I go back to the house and see my husband. You are clear. You are very clear about the whole thing. When you don't even want to move between these two spaces, you just try to compromise. You start staying in the middle place. You create your own center where you neither express the anger nor express the peace. You control yourself. You call that as a balanced life. You call that as a balanced life. Practically you are dead. Just waiting for graveyard. Just waiting. You can't even believe you are alive. You can't even believe you are alive. A small story. Elderly couple woke up from the bed early morning after a good night's sleep. Man just tries to hold her. She suddenly says, "No, don't touch me." She's asking, "Why? I am dead." He says, "What are you talking? We are talking to each other. Don't you understand? Why do you say you are dead?" "No, I am sure I am dead." "What are you talking? You are talking to me. Don't you remember? Don't you understand? You are alive." No. Morning he got up. "Nothing hurts me." "That is enough proof I am dead." If nothing hurts in the body, it is enough proof that you are dead. There is no life when you don't move from your boundary to the center. When you don't understand, you have different space in yourself. As of now, human beings live either in the space of madness or in the space of human beings. They are not completely centered in Shiva consciousness, in the space of Shiva. Shiva gives this technique to enter into that space. It's a beautiful technique to enter into the space of Shiva. And he says, give me that card also. just by entering into a relationship, you can fall or you can come back into the Shiva consciousness. You'll be surprised. Shiva is saying, just when you relax in the relationship, you can come back to the Shiva consciousness. You can straightaway fall into the Shiva consciousness. You can come back to your center. You can come back to your being. You can understand. You can experience the space in which Shiva is staying. Usually, always we understand anything related to the outer world will only give more and more problems, create more and more tension, more and more suffering in our being. But Shiva is saying, while being caressed, sweet princess, enter the caress as everlasting life. This is the sutra from Shiva. He says, enter into everlasting life means your being. You can enter into your being. I tell you a small story how the relationship can lead to your being, to the enlightenment. You may be able to understand. There's a great poet saint called Meera. She was a great poet and an enlightened mystic. Lived in India. Whole day she will be singing and dancing. She was in deep love with Sri Krishna. And unfortunately she is married to a king. The king was not able to understand what is going on. And not only that, when she starts singing about the glory and beauty of Sri Krishna, he became jealous of Krishna. And he wanted to find out who he is and where he is. Maybe he wanted to kill him. But he left his body thousands of years ago. Meera and Krishna, they lived at least a gap of 2,000-3,000 years. And she is continuously singing, dancing, repeating the name of Krishna and enjoying in ecstasy. The big problem is, if you are joyful, ecstatic, independent of him or her, you are in trouble. Your joy should be dependent on him or her. As long as your joy is dependent on him, everything is okay. As long as your joy is dependent on her, everything is okay. If you started living happily on your own, something hurts. You start feeling you are not needed. Now you are not needed. This king also felt the same thing. Now he is not needed for Meera's joy. Unless you are needed, unless her joy is dependent on you, you cannot rule her. You cannot keep anybody as your slave if they are joyful independently. If they are ecstatic by themselves, you cannot keep them slave. This king is having the same problem. He is having the same trouble. He is not able to understand what is going on. Yes, sir, where is he? Technically, if you see, he is no more alive. He is dead thousands of years ago. He is not there. But for her, he is very much present. He is here. And she is singing, dancing, ecstatic. You can't even say she is just imagining. Because the whole body language is different. Our whole body is expressing the love, radiating the energy. You can't say it is just imagination. This king tried his best to convince her that Krishna is not alive. First they try to convince, but his devotees can never be convinced because they are not in the plane of logic. They are in a different plane. They are in a different plane. You can't convince them logically. So when he is not able to convince her logically, he started torturing her. He tried other possible methods. But till the end, he was not able to do anything. And he started arguing with her. He said, he is not alive, he is no more. Why are you constantly remembering him? She says, only for you he is not alive. And according to me, he is the only being who is alive. All of you are going to be only in time. Particular period you will be here, and after that you will not be here. Krishna is the only being who is going to be here forever. He is the only being who is going to be here forever. She says, according to me, he is the only being who is going to be here eternally. When you are completely in love with somebody, when you are completely in tune with somebody, you feel the other person is God. You feel the other person is a blessing happened in your life. You feel the other person is a fulfillment of your being. You feel a totally different energy, totally different connection, totally different space around that person. She says, according to me, he is alive. He is here. He is available to me. If you see from the point of logic, it's a complete madness. We can't understand how Meera can sing and dance, how Meera can play with somebody who is not physically alive and who is no more. But Shiva says, this kind of relationship, a relationship which doesn't have any reason, the causeless relationship, that's the important thing. For the modern mind, civilized mind, it is very difficult to understand the word causeless relationship. Only causeless relationship can lead you to your being. Only that love can be the way to your being. We all know the relationships which is created just for some reason. Maybe money, or name and fame, or social influence, or physical relationship, sex. Maybe something else. We all know the relationships created for some purpose. But here Shiva says, the causeless relationship. It is very difficult to understand for modern mind. It is practically impossible. How can some relationship exist without any cause, without any reason? It's very difficult. But Shiva says it is possible, and that can directly lead you to the center of your being. Just by the very relationship, you can reach your center, you can reach your being. Actually, I also find very difficult to describe the causeless relationship. A relationship which has no reason, which has no cause, just purely overflowing, purely for the sake of other being. Because all of us know the relationships based on lust, based on money, based on name and fame, based on some gains. It's very difficult to understand the relationship which is causeless, overflowing. Yesterday is the day of Shiva's marriage anniversary. And the story says, before the marriage, Manmada, according to Shiva Purana, the Manmada is almost like a Cupid in what you call here Cupid. Manmada is the lord of lust, god of lust. The story says before the marriage, Shiva burnt the Manmada. He was killed. Then he entered into the marriage. You may ask, after killing the Manmada, then why marriage? You'll always ask, after killing Manmada, then why marriage? There's no need. But Shiva's things are strange. You can't understand. He marries Devi after conquering Manmada. Means there is no reason for the relationship. The one and only reason is Devi, that's all. Nothing else to be achieved, nothing else to be gained. Just a pure love, pure relationship for no other reason. Just yesterday, I was talking to a group of our devotees. It is very difficult for civilized man, at least modern man, to understand the causeless relationship is possible. You are not bothered at all. Just you are flowing. Just because you are. Just because the being is there. There is nothing, no calculation. You are not constantly calculating who is going to gain, who is going to lose. The steps are not calculated. Beautiful example. After conquering Manmada, entering into the marriage. In the same way, Ramakrishna and Sharada Devi. Even after Ramakrishna's passing away, Sharada Devi lived throughout her life taking care of his photograph. He will carry the picture wherever she goes. Early morning she will give food, and then evening she will give the hookah. Hookah means the chilam. And the night she will put the carpet for him. She will take care. She just lived with him. And she did not remove her bangles according to custom. According to Indian tradition, when your husband dies, you can't wear jewelry. And in those days, she was in the very orthodox society. But not only she did not remove the bangles, she lived with Ramakrishna. For a normal man it is very difficult. You can't understand. But she says, according to me, he is here. I don't feel he is no more. He is here. He is available. She is able to feel the deep connection, the causeless relationship. It is just overflowing for no reason. It is very difficult to explain for the civilized mind, because all our relationships, including going to a master, is only for some benefit. It's for some reason. You go there just for some reason, not for anything else. I have always seen people just want to hang around me. They just want me, but they never feel the responsibility of the moment. I have seen many people, constantly they want to hang around me. It is very easy because my space is so sweet. so beautiful, and that space is so nice, it's very easy to hang around. Constantly they want that space, but never feel the responsibility of that being. Just some use, some utility. Buddha says beautifully, I live in my Sangha and in my Dhamma. Sangha means the movement, the responsibility which he took, and the Dhamma, the truth which he is expressing. He always says, when you are with Dhamma and Sangha, be very clear, Buddha is around you. I always tell people, when you are trying to be around me, you are around me. When you are trying to be with my Sangha, I will be around you. The love, when you really feel overflowing, if it is causeless, if it is based on the truth, if it is based on the being, it will be purely towards the responsibility of that being. You will accept and understand that being as it is. As on now, it is only utility, just a good entertainment, nothing else. Maybe a spiritual entertainment where you don't have to feel guilty, that's all. With ordinary entertainment, you feel a little guilty. Even when you entertain, when you are enjoying. I always tell people, when you don't feel responsible for this truth, when you don't feel responsible for this message, means the knowledge or the truth, to express this truth in your life, if you don't feel responsible for the responsibility which I have taken, this Sangha, the transformation of the humanity, be very clear, all your love is pseudo, hypocrisy. Just trying to play with words, nothing more. It's purely playing with words. And it's pure sentiments. If you dig deep, somewhere you will see some other strings attached to it. Either you don't show that string to others, or you yourself are not courageous enough to dig down and see that strings. But it is not love. The very word Shiva means causeless auspiciousness. Overflowing auspiciousness causelessly. When you overflow causelessly, you suddenly relax into your being. You are centered on your being. You are suddenly, you will feel a different space. He says, while being caressed, sweet princess, enter the caress as everlasting life. One more thing. For the causeless relationship, you don't even need the other person. God appears in front of the Adam and says, I have a good news and bad news for you. Adam says, no, first tell me the good news. He says, I have a beautiful gift of two organs. One is brain, through which you can become more intelligent, energetic, loving, and happy being. Another one is organ for reproduction, through which you can reproduce more and more human beings and populate the planet Earth. This Adam says, oh God, thank you. After such a good news, what else you can tell me? He says, God says, no, I have a bad news for you, because when I created you, I gave you enough energy only to operate any one of these. When you are caught with your reasons, you can't be intelligent. When you are caught with your lust, you can't be loving. When you are caught with the form, you can't be spiritual. Be very clear. The relationship to some form should be used as a key to take the quantum jump into the ultimate enlightenment. I always tell people, when you are connected to the movement, the Sangha, you are entering into the formless energy. You are transforming your very being. When you are connected just to this form, be very clear, you are entering into a trap where you will create suffering for yourself and for others. Of course, you can't create for me. Even though you try your best, you can't create for me. But you will try to create for others. Whenever somebody enters into the space of the pure love, they feel all others are complementing us. You will not feel others are competing with us. If you have the feeling that somebody is competing with you, be very clear, you are stuck somewhere seriously. You are standing somewhere seriously. You will feel suddenly the whole world is complimenting you. When you disappear into the formless energy, into the formless being, as long as you have some form, you can never enter into the chaos. Shiva says, when you are in some relationship with God, relationship with Guru, relationship with your son, relationship with your wife, a relationship with your beloved, with whomever it may be, the other person, whether he is there or not, we don't have to care. Here the importance is not towards the other person. Here the importance is towards the experience or the feeling which you are having when you are in that relationship. Shiva says, just be with that feeling. Actually, when you start staying with that feeling constantly, even if the other person is not there, whoever comes near you, you will start showering that same feeling on them. You will start radiating the same feeling on them. As on now, your feeling is directed only towards that one person. And the importance is given to that person, to that other person. Whether he is God, or Guru, or your husband, or your wife, or son, or daughter, or brother. The importance is given to the other person. The only one thing Shiva says, just change the importance, move it. Just have a small cognitive shift. Let the importance be given to the feeling. Actually, you feel so good when you are in deep love, when you are completely connected to somebody, not even to the God or Guru, even if you feel connected to some friend very deeply, you will feel that same love. Same love. The reason is, when you are in love, you come to the present moment. Your mind doesn't think anything more. If you are constantly thinking, be very clear, you are not in love. You are not in love. Suddenly, your mind doesn't move. You are relaxed. Completely feeling relaxed. You have nothing to do. You have nothing to achieve. And you just feel you are centered on yourself. When you are completely centered on yourself, when you are completely relaxed within yourself, you will start radiating the same love with every being. You will not give importance to the form which comes in front of you. You will become like a mirror. Whoever comes in front of you, you will start mirroring. As long as you choose some form, you will always be excluding all other forms. Constant excluding will be happening. That's why I tell people, when you choose to get attached to this form, you will exclude the whole world. If you choose to get attached to the whole world, you will include me also. It's not that I will not be there. You will include me also. That is why it is very easy to connect with me, very difficult to connect with Sangha. Because when you connect with Sangha, you have to expand. You have to go beyond your frame. You have to go beyond the identity which you are trying to project towards the outer world and the identity which you are carrying with yourself. You have to go beyond these two, and that hurts. With me, nothing hurts. Because I have so much of space, attaching to one form doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. There is nothing much to be done. But when you go beyond, it hurts. Here Shiva is giving you a beautiful technique to go beyond without hurting yourself and without hurting others. Whenever you start excluding, you become violent. All violence starts happening when you start excluding. All excluding. Excluding means you are in trouble. Here Shiva says, just enter into the very love which you feel when you relate with somebody. Not only the relationship of husband or wife or a child, even when you sit with the flower, sometimes you sit with the moon. Of course, you sit only with the TV. In the modern civilization, we sit only with the TV. When you sit with the moon, when you sit with the tree, when you sit in your garden, whenever you are feeling relaxed, just be with that feeling. Just be with that feeling. Suddenly you will see you are entering into a different space. You are entering into a different space. If you see, the Shiva Sutras, and if you see the way in which the Shiva Sutras is given, the Sutra says, Shiva was sitting and the Devi was there near him, but there was no two people. As long as there were two people, Shiva did not open the mouth. Only when he saw there was only one person, he started speaking. She is no more. She is relaxed into the Shiva space. Only then Shiva starts the Shiva Sutras. He says, now you are ready to listen the truth. And he gives you the same beautiful technique. While being caressed, sweet princess enter the caress as everlasting life. For this sutra, first thing you need to do is to create at least one honest relationship in your life. Somebody goes to a great saint, Ramanuja. Ramanuja is a great saint. According to me, the depth of Ramanuja, nobody has reached, including Shankara. The depth expressed by Ramanuja is something amazing, deeper than Shankara. Somebody goes to him and asks, Master, I want to achieve God. I want to have enlightenment. Can you teach me something? Ramanuja says, have you experienced love? Have you experienced a real love? Have you really lost yourself in love? The guy who came, the disciple, was shocked. He says, what are you talking? I am a celibate. I lived a pure life. I control myself. I am doing all spiritual practices. I came to you to realize God. But you are talking something else. I don't know what you are teaching me. Ramanuja says, if you have not even experienced ordinary love, forget about God, you can't experience. You can't experience God unless you experience the ordinary love, what you call as so-called ordinary love. You will not understand what happens when you are in love. Only when you understand what happens when you are in love with object, you will be able to turn your attention towards that experience. Instead of turning your energy towards the object, turn it towards the experience. Unless you experience that space, it is impossible to experience God. There will be nothing. You can't do anything. You can't even recollect. You can't even have a glimpse of divine experience unless you had some experience which is beyond your logical relationships, beyond your logical calculation. If you are calculating and smiling towards somebody, it is not relationship. Let me be clear. It is not relationship. You will be a pure beggar. If you are calculating and smiling, if you are there for some reason, you can't be in tune. You can't be in love. Beautifully, Ramanuja says, only a person who has experienced that can turn the attention towards the experience itself. Turning your awareness to the experience itself will naturally turn you towards you. That love will lead you towards your being. Love can lead you to object or to the subject. It's a bridge. It can take you towards the object or towards the subject. Whoever used that gate to enter into the subject became enlightened. They liberated themselves and liberated other person. Whoever has used that gate to enter into the object, they have bound themselves and bound the object also. You start possessing and being possessed. And one more thing, whenever you possess, you bind yourself also. Whenever you are walking, holding your dog's rope, be very clear, you are also bound. Don't think only dog is bound. You are also bound. Don't think only dog cannot run away. You also can't run away. You are bound by the dog. You may be thinking you are holding the rope and walking. Dog may be thinking he is holding the rope and walking. And really we don't know who is holding who. How do you know? You don't know. With possessiveness, you are also caught. Not only the other person, you are also caught. And now, Shiva is saying, give importance to the experience, not to the object. And I tell you, when you never given importance to experience, constantly you will create suffering for subject and the object. constantly will torture the object, and you think the object is not right and you will try to change the object. The more you try to work on the object, or the more you try to change the object, the more suffering and the suffocation for subject. Instead, if you can use that beautiful space to turn yourself towards the subject, you will be liberated from the object. After that, even when you are with the object, you will not be bound by it. You will be just overflowing. And there is a beautiful commentary by a great master, Abhinavatirtha, for the Shiva Sutras. In his commentary he says, he calls that as Atmananda Deepika. Beautiful commentary, he says, just by this single technique, you can be in that same love 24 hours, because once you know how to turn the attention towards the experience instead of object, you can be in love 24 hours, because there is no need for object. You are liberated from object. You are liberated from the object. I tell you, that is the ultimate liberation. Liberation from the object is the ultimate liberation. That is the ultimate relationship. You will be radiating causelessly. You will be radiating the love which is causeless, which has no reason, which is just because you are here, you will be radiating. Just because you are, you radiate. There is no strings, there is no reason, there is nothing else. Just you are. I always tell people, unless you use the love towards me as a gate to enter into your subject, as a gate to take the jump towards the whole humanity, it is not going to help. The love towards the master is like a food. If you digest and become energetic, you will radiate that same energy in your life. And if you don't eat, naturally, you will not be helped by the food, and the food will start stinking. I am afraid of people who doesn't take the responsibility, just wanted me, means today or tomorrow they will be tired of me. You will be bored. Be very clear. If you are attached only to the object, without turning yourself towards the subject, let you be very clear. You will feel bored even from the object. You will have boredom. How long you will be entertained? How long you can feel entertained? As long as things are brand new, you are entertained. But by and by, you will start feeling bored. By and by, you will start feeling tired. That is not going to help. I always tell people, whenever you start expressing this truth in your life, I will be behind you, because I know your love is eternal, which can never be touched. It has become part of your being. You have become love. Love for Krishna should do something in you through which you will just become love. Love for Shiva should do something in you so that you will just become love. It is not just love directed towards one person, to the whole humanity. Buddha says, I live in Sangha. Means, do not direct your attention to me, directed towards the subject so that it can spread on the whole world. If the object is removed, the whole world becomes object. You will never enter into suffering. You will never enter into suffering. Yesterday is the day of Radha's enlightenment. Radha became enlightened. Shiva's marriage anniversary, so many celebrations. Even in the Radha's enlightenment, there is a beautiful description of Rasa Leela. Rasa Leela means causeless relationship. Let you understand, now Shiva is describing the same thing which Krishna is expressing through Rasa Leela. Rasa Leela is not for the sake of money. Radha never brings money to Krishna, or Krishna never brings money to Radha, not even present or anything. I don't think the gift shop were available in those days. Let you all understand, you give presents and gifts because you can't give love. If you are really in love, your very body language will convince the other person you are in love. Because you can't do that. You bring something so that he will believe that you are loving him. You are in love. All gifts and presents are nothing but poor substitute for your love. It's a pure hypocrisy. Pure hypocrisy. All gifts, all presents, when I say all, I mean capital letter A-L-L. If you are wounded, if your ego is hurt, I apologize, but whatever I said is true. Let me be very clear. When you are really in love, something will be happening in you. You don't even have to tell the other person. The other person will feel in your body language. The other person will feel in your, just by your presence. There is no need to tell. When you are trying to tell, be very clear, there is something seriously wrong. There is something seriously wrong. And the whole Rasa Leela is the scene of causeless love, radiating for no reason. There is no reason. The Rasa Leela was misinterpreted by many people. And they were thinking that Krishna was having a relationship with so many people. Let me be very clear. Rasa Leela happened when Krishna was 8-year-old. He was just 8. It is nowhere related to physical relationship. It was a pure spiritual relationship, causeless. When he was 10, he left Vrindavan. He left Vrindavan. So at least 1 or 2 years earlier only Rasa Leela happened. He was hardly 8-year-old boy. Understand? It was just causeless overflowing. And Rasa Leela says, as long as Radha was attached to Krishna, she never experienced joy. Constantly she will swing. She will have mood swings. She will have the possessiveness, all problems. The moment she started experiencing Krishna in all the gopis, that moment simply she became enlightened. So Rasa Leela says, each gopi had one Krishna. How is it possible? Surely not through cloning. Surely not through cloning. The story says each gopika had one Krishna. How can it be? It means every gopi started seeing the other person as Krishna. Every gopi has started seeing the other person as Krishna. The love is mature. As Shiva says, the whole attention was turned towards the experience itself. not towards the object, not to the object, it was to the subject. When the whole attention is turned towards the subject, use love as the gate, as the door to the divine. Love becomes the way to your being. He describes as a beautiful technique. Shiva describes this as a beautiful technique. In this book, Shiva is trying to use every situation, everything which happens in your life. He is trying to help you to every situation to use as a door to the divine. When you are in love with some person or in God or with some art or painting, if you are a painter, be very clear, you are in love with the painting. If you are a dancer, be very clear, you are in love with the dancing. If you are doing something sincerely, for no reason, if you are painting and thinking about how to do gallery or where to display your paintings, be very clear, you are not in love with painting. You are in love with money. If you are dancing and calculating what I will get after I finish this dance, or how can I do something else, be very clear, you are not in love with the dancing. You are in love with money. If you are completely in love with dancing, in love with painting, in love with life, try to use that opportunity to enter into the subject. Next time, when you are really in love with somebody, maybe your father, maybe your mother, maybe your husband, may not be. Very difficult. Maybe some God, maybe some guru. When you are open, when you don't have the calculation, when you don't have the insecure feeling, relax and be yourself. Turn your whole attention to the experience which you are experiencing. Just sit with yourself. Shiva is giving you different techniques to enter into the divine. He is using your whole life, every single situation he is using as the door to jump into the divine. As the door to jump into the subject. As the door to jump into yourself. Constantly you are trying to create more and more and more bondage, more and more difficulty for yourself. That is why even when master happens in your life, somehow you are so professional in creating problems, you create a problem out of him also. I tell people, I am showing the moon and a finger pointing to the moon. If you look at the moon, you will experience what I am experiencing. Instead, if you catch my hand and start biting, you will neither see the moon nor relax. Not only that, you will create one more trouble out of me in your life. And the next thing, when you hold and hang on to the finger, you will turn the finger and misdirect the next generation. Misguide the next generation. Ramanuja's life, a beautiful incident. According to me, Ramanuja is highest expression of practical spirituality. Ramanuja is the expression of spirituality. He uses every step towards the enlightenment. When he was initiated, he was given a technique, a mantra by the master, and master says, do not give this to anybody. If you give, you will die. Immediately your head will burst and you will die. And he asks, if people receive, what will happen to them? Master says, if somebody receives, nothing will happen to them. They will go to heaven. Only your head will burst. You will die. You will go to hell. What you would have done? Naturally you would have said, let's keep quiet. Why unnecessarily go for hell? Why unnecessarily go for hell? But Ramanuja straight away goes and stands in front of the temple. He claims the tower and he calls the whole village and shouts, he declares, he openly pronounces that mantra and says, let you all go to heaven. I don't bother about me going to hell. I don't bother. Let you all reach the heaven. See, when you are deeply in love, you feel so responsible for every being. You feel so responsible. You just feel your whole being is open. You are ready to go to any extreme. You are ready to go to any boundary. Or there is nothing to protect in your being. There is nothing to be protected. You don't feel insecure. When you are deeply in love, you won't feel the insecurity. That is why always the people who are in love, they do all risky things. You can see, when they are in love, they take any risk because they don't feel insecure. Love gives you tremendous courage and energy. It opens up. It makes you available to yourself. As of now, you are not available to you. Love can make you available to yourself, or yourself will be made available to you. And he openly declares, when the Guru heard this incident, he says, now I learnt a real lesson from my disciple. Guru says, I learnt a lesson from disciple. Ramanuja, you have reached much more heights than me. I can't tell you, I can't call you anymore as my disciple. I can't dictate you. You are in totally different space. It is very difficult to understand what I am speaking because I am not speaking something which is logical. I am not speaking the language with which we are brought up. Let it be clear, just because I speak English, do not think you can understand. We all think all of us are capable of loving. That is the first myth. All of us are not capable of love. To be in love, you need to turn yourself towards the experience of love, not towards the object of love. As long as your attention is towards the object, you will be materialistic. You will be materialistic because your attention is towards the object. Even if the object is a being, a person, you will try to reduce that person into a matter. That's what we are doing when we possess the other person. See, we possess a furniture, we possess a statue, we possess a house. Same way you try to possess somebody. You want that person as you want him to be. It means what? You are reducing the spirit into matter. So whenever you turn your attention towards the object, even if the person is a living being, you will reduce him to a matter. You will be materialistic, creating suffering for you and for others. When you turn your attention towards the experience itself, you will be liberating the object and you will be liberated from the object. You will be liberated from the object and you will be liberating the object. You always catch, you always touch, you always put your attention towards the wrong space. You miss the truth, you miss the right thing. When you put your attention towards the object, you miss the experience itself and you misunderstand. The excitement or the joy happens because of the object. You don't understand the excitement or the joy happens because of the subject, not because of the object. If it is because of the object, whenever the object comes in contact with you, you should have the same excitement. Do you have the same excitement? No. Temperature comes down. The temperature comes down. Why? It means the excitement or the energy is not related to the object. It is related to the subject. It's related to experience. A small story. Art collector travels in a village. He saw an old saucer, antique piece. A cat was drinking milk from that saucer outside a small tea shop. He realized the value of that saucer. Someone wants to buy it. He goes to the shop owner and asks, "Sir, can I buy this cat for $2? The guy says, No, I don't want to sell. This guy says, No, I want a hungry tomcat because my house is haunted by mice. Please sell the cat for me. I'll give you $10. The shop owner says, $10. All right, sold. Have it. Now this guy says, all right, I'll take the cat. Can you give me the saucer also, so that I don't have to buy one more dish? And this cat is habituated with the saucer. He will be happy. He's already trained for that saucer. Why don't you give me that? Shop owner says, oh, saucer? No. That's my lucky one. Just because of that, I sold 68 cats in last week. Be very clear. You go to get the saucer, but you get only cat. Always you miss what has to be achieved. Next time, when you are with somebody, when you are with your friend, when you are completely open, remember this. Or if you have some friend with whom you can completely open yourself, your beloved or your friend or with whoever, you can practice this as a technique. Just sit next to each other. Do not bother about what you are going to do or what you are going to speak. Speaking is nothing but avoiding the other person. Be very clear. Speaking is nothing but avoiding the other person. Because you can't look into the other person's eyes, you go on speaking. The other person listens so that he can start speaking after 5 minutes. Good listener is a person who is thinking of something else. Or who prepares for his shot. He is just sitting there so that he can start. Now try this technique. It can take you to a different space. When you are with your master, or when you are with your friend or beloved, if you feel deeply connected to some God's photograph or some God's statue, even in front of that you can try. If you are feeling connected to something, if you are feeling secure and completely open in front of something, with somebody, you can try this technique. It will straight away lead you to enlightenment. Be very clear. I am not teaching this technique so that you will have a better relationship. No. I am not teaching this so that you will have self-development. No. All self-development is nothing but BULLSHIT. All self-development. Be very clear. Either you become enlightened or you live in madness. That's all. All this self-development is nothing but selling that feel-good feeling. That is not going to work. That is not going to help. Maybe all the self-development is just for a few days. Not more than that. I am not giving you this technique so that you will develop yourself. No. So that you will reach yourself. Not develop yourself. With whoever you feel comfortable. Just sit. Do not plan what you are going to do next. Do not bother where it is going to lead. But the big problem is, you never sit in a relaxed way. Either you are caught in greed, means lust. So you are in a hurry, you just rush, run. You don't know what you are doing. Or you are caught with fear. You just try to escape. And you finish your job and try to escape. Either you are in greed or you are in fear. Now, try. Do not plan. Do not be in greed or do not be in fear. Just sit in the presence. Just feel the other person's presence. Accept the other person as he is or as she is, as the being is, and feel what is happening inside you. Try just for few days. Suddenly you will see you are experiencing a different space which you never experienced in your life, which you have never experienced. Shiva is giving you the technique. He is giving you the technique to take a quantum jump from form to formlessness. Whatever form you may be attached to your beloved or to your God, to your guru or to your friend, to whatever form you may be attached, you can take a quantum jump from the form to formlessness. You can take a quantum jump in love. He says, just sit with that feeling which you are having. Just let that feeling overflow. Let that feeling fill you. And it takes you to a different level, to the next level technique. Tomorrow we will work on the technique. He is taking you to a different level technique. Tomorrow. Anyhow, this itself is a wonderful technique. Let's see the technique about which he is speaking today. Just let that feeling overflow in you. Let that feeling of love fill you. Let you be filled with that experience. Let you not plan to do something. Let you not be restless. Actually, if you are not gaining something every moment, you start feeling uncomfortable. Many times, I feel like just sitting with people. But I see that they feel uncomfortable. Unless they constantly receive some words from me, they add some more to their vocabulary, they don't feel comfortable. They want something to be added. When something is added to them, they feel very comfortable. They feel, yes, now I am getting something. I can sit here. Actually, I can teach or share lot more just by being than by speaking. We had a 19 days program called Nityanandam in India. 19 days, usually in the 2 days workshop. In America we do 2 days workshop. In the 2 days workshop, at least around 20 to 25 hours I speak in the 2 days. At least. Throughout the whole Nityanandam, I would have spoken maybe maximum 3 hours. Throughout 19 days, I spoke only 3 hours, maximum. They were sitting with me, I was sitting with them, that's all. But people can never understand it can happen. And I've given them complete freedom. If you feel bored, you can get up and go out. Not only, they have not left the hall. Even after I leave the hall, they were sitting. Even after I left the hall, they were sitting. They were just sitting in ecstasy. It is very difficult to explain this to a civilized person, to a person who is in the modern society. I always feel that difficulty. First thing you need to understand, relationships can happen causelessly, without any reason. Only then you will understand the experience of love is much more important than the object itself. The first understanding which needs to come to us is relationships can happen causelessly for no reason. And you must have at least one relationship in your life for no reason. If you don't have, be very clear, you are a poor guy. You may have millions. You may have millions, but you are just poor guy. You are in utter poverty. Just look back. If you don't have even a single relationship, where you don't have a reason for that relationship, be very clear, you are a pure politician. You are not qualified to enter into the spiritual journey. Your life is lacking something seriously. Just today, start the work of relating with somebody for no reason. For no reason. There should not be monetary benefit. There should not be physical benefit. See, once you experience the love, after that, if the money is shared or the body is shared, the quality is totally different. I am not against money, or I am not against marriage. I am not against physical relationship. But if that becomes center of your life, you are missing something seriously. You are missing major dimension of your being. You are missing one of your important center. Be very clear, just because you have a human body, do not ever think you are a human being. Unless, that is why George Gurdjieff says, you have to create your being. When he says this word, he means you have to awaken the center of love. At least one relationship you should have in your life in which you do not expect something beyond that relationship. You You do not have any utility through that relationship. Monetary or physical comfort or some other pleasure or name and fame. At least one relationship. Maybe some friend or with master or God. Something with somebody. Maybe with your tree. Maybe with the moon. Maybe with the sun. Maybe with the nature. With something. You should have a relationship which does not have any other benefit. Only then you will understand the word love. Only then the love center in you will be awakened. I always tell people, do some work every day, at least for half an hour, which does not bring you money or name and fame. Just half an hour, go to some temple like this and clean that floor. Or just sweep the floor. Just do some little service. Do not plan to become a committee member. Do not plan, if I do this every day, I will become this person, I will become that person. I will have a big batch of volunteers and I will be the leader. Then finished. Gone. Except God, everything will be there in that kind of temples. Do not plan for that. Just half an hour. Don't look further. Don't plan after that half an hour. Just that half an hour. Wipe something. Clean something. Do some seva. Little bit. This half an hour, in the initial level you may think this half an hour is waste of time. And after a few days, suddenly you will realize, only in that half an hour you are alive. You are not driven by fear or greed. You will learn the knack of how to love, how to be alive without fear or greed driving you. As on now, every moment, even your smile is driven by fear or greed. Be very clear, you forgot how to laugh. You can't smile without calculating. Watch your mind. You can see. Before laughing, you will see the next person. You will judge, you will decide how many inches you can open, how polite you should be, or how you should project yourself. Just for half an hour, try. It's one of the beautiful technique. If you can't meditate, don't bother. Just half an hour. Do something which does not bring you money, which does not bring you name and fame, which does not give you any social position, which does not give you anything in return. Then you will understand what I mean by the word causeless relationship. Only that half an hour will become life for you. In the beginning you will think that half an hour is waste. I tell you, I promise you, within a month you will feel that half an hour is the only time in which you are alive. As on now, every action is driven by fear and greed. You are fueled by fear and greed. That is why when you don't have that, you feel you are lonely. You don't have fuel. You are tired when there is no fear or greed. Actually, I always have a problem with this so-called cultured beings. When I open myself, when I am available to them, they start questioning, doubting, what for he is so much available? He is so open. Earlier, I used to make myself available to too much. I was so open to anybody and everybody. I used to be available too much. Maybe I have not learned the lesson. I used to be available too much. By and by I saw, because these fellows have never done anything without fear or greed, they project the same thing on me and try to come out with their own calculation. I may also have that same calculation of fear and greed. Then now I started speaking in their same language. I keep myself completely aloof. And I keep myself very clear. Only who feels responsible, only who is in tune, I let them around me. Because as long as you do not understand, without fear or greed, causelessly something can happen, you will not be able to realize the space in which Master is available, Master is living. Only when you have done something causelessly and had the taste of that, that's why I tell. Flirting without any other goal is what is called Rasa Leela. Be very clear, Krishna doesn't have any ulterior physical relationship motive. There is no ulterior motive. Krishna doesn't have any ulterior motive. And these poor gopis, what they can give for him? And moreover, he is the son of king. He is son of Vasudeva. Only he will be giving to them. He has nothing to gain. He is king by himself. And these guys have nothing to give. And he doesn't have the ulterior motive of physical relationship also. That is why I say it is Rasa Leela, the ultimate play, for no reason. For no reason. If you can just try a simple technique, only half an hour, not more than that, half an hour, go to some place where you don't get monetary benefit and name and fame, where you don't have to show your arrogance and ego, where you don't have to establish yourself as a great person. Do something small, sweep that place, wipe that place, and help something with a few flowers, where you do not have any other benefit, no other ulterior motive. You will see suddenly your body is running, your mind is running without the fuel of fear and greed. Once you learn that simple knack, how to move your body without fear and greed, be very clear, you can enter into love now. Only then you will know what is meant by the word love. A new center will be awakened in you. A new energy will start radiating in you. Just try for 10 days, I tell you. 10 days, go to some place where you don't get any benefit. Try to do something half an hour. You will see a different energy in you. Then you will understand how the causeless relationship is possible. How the causeless relationship is possible. Only then you will be able to enter into this technique. What Shiva says, turn your attention towards the experience itself, not towards the object. Till then, you can't understand what I am speaking. Maybe it will be a good lecture for you. It will be a good theory for you, but not practical. Before entering into this meditation, do these two things. One, sit with somebody with whom you do not have fear or greed, and feel that experience with some friend, with somebody. Feel how you feel in you and just disappear into that feeling. Second, do something for half an hour, at least for next 10 days, which doesn't bring money or name and fame not try to create an organization. Do not try to create a volunteer batch. Do not try to become a committee member. Then you are in a different trip. Then God is also one more utility for you. He is also one more utility for you. Do not try to do the just reason to feel the responsibility of acting without fear and greed. Without fear and greed. To feel the responsibility. To feel the space in which you will not be driven by fear or greed. You will be totally understanding the responsibility of what you are doing. With these two things, you can simply enter into your inner space where the pure love exists. One more thing. Here Shiva is not giving you this as a teaching. This is not a morality. Be very clear. This is a pure technique. If it doesn't work, you can catch my throat. Because it's a technique. I am not giving you this as a morality. I am not giving you this as a teaching. It is getting video recorded, I know. It's a technique. It can straight away work on you. It's a straight technique. All you need is to jump into the technique. Whatever now I am speaking is not teaching. I am tired of teaching because no fellow listens. No, really. Nobody listens. Just entertainment. Oh, the Swami is coming. Oh, no. Just an entertainment. And socializing, nothing else. You can go and see few people. And it feels good also to be around him. And some time pass also. How long you will be sitting with that nonsense TV? So we can have just a change. Just a change. And people tell me many times, Swamiji, be here for more days, more days. I tell them, then I will understand. Somebody goes to Arunachala and says, Bhagavan, such a beautiful place, the Raman Maharshi. Bhagavan, such a wonderful place, such a high energy, so great, so beautiful. Bhagavan says, just be here for one more week, everything will become alright. If I stay in any city for one more week, everything will become alright. That's all, everything will become alright. It is just an excitement of that brand new. And moreover, once in a year only. So we can go and have the game. I am not giving you this as a teaching, no. I am done with the teachings. I am done with the teachings. What I am speaking to you is a technique. Is a technique. Sit with something with which you feel comfortable. Do not feel driven by fear or greed, and feel the experience, what it feels. And just feel that experience, what it feels. Paramahamsa Yogananda says beautifully, when the object is not there, you enter into a divine romance. He has written a beautiful book, Divine Romance. When there is no object, you enter into a divine romance. You enter into the subject. The love itself can be used as a door to take jump, quantum jump. And tomorrow Shiva beautifully explains from a different angle how to take this same quantum jump, how to take this same jump into the ultimate space, into the ultimate experience. Let us enter into this meditation technique. Today we will enter into this technique. Of course, with somebody, but you can sit with that experience. You can just feel completely open and feel, or you can just bring the memory. When you were in deep connection, when you felt deeply connected to somebody, how you felt, bring that memory back and just be with that experience. That person may not be here, there is no need for that person because the experience is enough. Now we don't need the object, we need only the experience. All of you must have experienced at least once that space in your life where you are not driven by fear or greed, where you are completely feeling comfortable and secure, and just bring that same space, same memory in you and be with that space. You will see you are falling into your being. You are traveling towards your being. If you have never had that experience, you will never be able to understand master. If you have to understand spiritual master means at least once you should have realized, you should have understood, experienced the causeless relationship. The causeless relationship. I always find this big difficulty. Whenever actually I live in an innocent space, whenever I make myself completely available, whoever comes around me, if they are little mature, then they understand. If they are immature, they always get that fear. God, I will never open myself like this. If I open, I always have calculation of fear and greed. I don't know what calculation he is having. And they won't be able to understand because I have no calculation. But they can't trust I have no calculation because they never experienced that space. You project only you on me, you on anybody else. So neither you can understand that what is my calculation because I don't have, nor you can understand I don't have calculation because you never had that space in yourself. You will always be in confusion. You will never be able to relax. Now it is time. Relax. Remember the space in which you never had fear or greed. You are utterly relaxed. And be with that experience. Maybe there is every possibility you would have had that space with your mother. Because with mother, it is more costless. You can't say all the activities of mother is with reason. Maybe when you grow, when you become adult, the ideology, if the ideology is not suiting, matching with that, you may have little friction and problem. If you are not ideologically feeling connected to her, otherwise you can't tell all her things are with reason. You might have experienced the costless relationship with her. Or there may be so many other times. If you have really experienced the space around the master, that's the best example. That's the best example for the causeless relationship. Now, bring that memory of the causeless relationship to your space. Remember that and just be with that. Just be with that. You will see you are going towards your being.